सबसे पहला तो हम 5 काउंसलर्स थे, असीटमा नहीं है, तादर तंग साहब नहीं है, सोवेंग तैंग जी नहीं है, अब रह गया मैं और वांगफा लुआंग साहब। हम लोगों का भी उम्र काफ़ी हो गया है, ऑलमोस्ट इनकैपेसिटेड है, फिर भी जो फर्स्ट काउंसलर 5 हम लोग थे उसमें से हम 2 जिंदा है भी। मैं सबसे पहला तो मेरे रेस्पेक्टेड कलीग्स को, बहुत ही सच्चे लोग थे वो लोग, मैंने करीब करीब दुनिया देखा है और कई लोगों का देखने परखने का मौका मिला है। उस एक्सपीरियंस से मैं आप लोगों को बता सकता हूँ, मेरे जो कोलीग्स थे, दे वेर रियल वेल विशर्स, ऑनेस्ट एंड डेडिकेटेड पीपल। तो मैं उनको मेरा श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करना चाहता हूं और एप्रिसिएशन प्लेस करना चाहता हूं। I would like to just say, dear colleagues, I miss you. दूसरा स्टेज में जो मेरे साथ प्रदेश काउंसिल में थे, उनमें से भी कई लोग गुजर गए हैं। मैं उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ। और कुछ लोग हैं, हम लोग कुछ ही लोग रह गया है, आज भी मिले हैं बहुत लोगों का। मेरे दिल में बहुत एक किस्म से मैंने नॉस्टैल्जिया का वजह से आंसू निकालने में लग गया, लेकिन ये दुनिया का नियम है, इसको तो सहन करना पड़ेगा। The life has to go on. Likewise, मेरा कलीग MLAs, एक्स MLAs जितना भी यहाँ आया, जब 50 साल का बात मैं सुनता हूँ, मैं अपना वदन को देखता हूँ, यार ये 50 साल से ज़्यादा हो गया क्या? लेकिन मेरे दिल से ये जवाब आता है कि हाँ, तुम 50 ही नहीं है, 80 साल का करीब हो गया है। यानी मैं अपना बदन को भी ठीक से देखा नहीं था, मैं चारों तरफ देखता था और आगे देख के प्रोग्रेस का, अरुणाचल का हमेशा ध्यान करता था। आप लोगों में से मेरे 2 पुराने दोस्त हैं, क्या था ईटानगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल, कितना जोग का था हमको, पाँव में पूरा जोग भर गया। हम पहला पैदल आते थे यहाँ, और पैदल आके बिल्कुल भव्य असेंबली हो गया, सेक्रेटरीट हो गया और कई भवन बन गया, अच्छा रास्ता हो गया, सैकड़ों गाड़ी, हजारों गाड़ी चलता है। कितना परिवर्तन हो गया। मैं अपने आप को बहुत भाग्यवान मानता हूँ कि मैं अपना बदन को देखता हूँ, यार अभी 80 साल का हो रहा है ये बदन, कितना प्रोग्रेस अरुणाचल का देखा, उठा, मैंने इसका उठल पुठल, आगे पीछे कितना पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविटीज़ मैंने यहाँ देखा। केवल यहाँ नहीं, ऑल इंडिया लेवल में भी अरुणाचल का कृपा से मैंने बहुत देखा और सीखा। इसलिए मुझे अब यहाँ आपके सामने खड़े होते हुए जब 50 साल का बारे में बोलते हुए या सोचते हुए एक कन्फ्यूजन होता है मेरे को, यार कहाँ से शुरू करूं, किस चीज़ को बताऊं, किस चीज़ को नहीं बताऊं, लेकिन कुछ तो बताना पड़ेगा। इसलिए मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं, बुद्धिजीवी लोगों को याद दिलाना चाहता हूं, हम तो ब्रिटिश रूल में थे एक जमाने में। आज का ये जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट फ्रंटियर एजेंसी कहलाते थे, नेफा कहलाते थे, या उससे पहले ट्रैक्स कहा करते थे, आज अरुणाचल है। इस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को, इस डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस को, इस पीपल्स मूवमेंट को शुरू कब हुआ था? व्हाट इज द जेनेसिस? अगर आप अरुणाचल का हिस्ट्री देखा जाए, अरुणाचल का समझने को कोशिश किया जाए, तो हमारा यहाँ बहुत लंबा चौड़ा अलग अलग ट्राइब्स है, हमारा अपना अपना हिस्ट्री है, ब्रिटिश जमाने से पहला और उसके बाद। जेनेसिस ऑफ मॉडर्न एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड मॉडर्न अरुणाचल started in 1873, जिसको आप लोग सब बुद्धिजीवी लोगों को पता है। बंगाल ईस्टर्न फ्रंटियर रेगुलेशन एक्शन मिल रहा है, इनर लाइन प्रोटेक्शन। मेन पर्पस ऑफ दैट इनर लाइन प्रोटेक्शन वाज व्हाट? इस एरिया, हमारा एरिया में even Britishers could not enter without a pass. That means even Indians, Indian यूनियन का जो सिटीजन्स है, उनको भी अपना देश में होते हुए भी वो परमिट का, इनर लाइन परमिट का ज़रूरत होता था। और उससे उसका मेन पर्पस क्या था? Protection of the area, protection of the tribals, protection of the indigenous culture of tribals, and tribals so that could not be run by outsiders in their own place. इस जेनेसिस को अगर आप स्टडी करें, इसका रीजन, कारण, इट गोज बैक टू अमेरिका। इन अमेरिका harassed, almost they were extinct। उसमें से भी ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट, ब्रिटिश उस जमाने के लोगों ने सीखा, तो इसलिए for the protection of your area, your land, your water, your jungle, your culture, your identity, this was introduced, जिसको हम लोग आजकल lightly sometimes खेल खेल में या हंसी खुशी में बात कर लेते हैं कि बंगाल ईस्टर्न बंगाल फ्रंटियर रेगुलेशन में ये ऐसा है। देयर वर सम लीडर्स हु हैड अपोज ऑल्सो। इफ यू गो थ्रू द कंटेम्पररी हिस्ट्री एंड एंशिएंट हिस्ट्री, you will come to know about British rule and how it started. 1873 के बाद ईस्टर्न बंगाल फ्रंटियर regulation के बाद it was supplemented in 1996 by Chin Hill Act, and by giving powers through Chin Hill Act, the village heads, village tribal heads were entrusted with some more political as well as judicial powers. That is why today, even today, we have village council, हमारा कैबांग है, गांव बड़ा system है. All these were emanated really from these two regulations. After the achievement of independence, there were so many researchers, so many scholars, and there was one gentleman whose name is Dr. Warrior Alvin. I don't know the present generation know it or not. He had written a book. The name was The Policy of NEFA. Now, I will take up that slightly later. After independence, when थोड़ा पानी मिलेगा क्या? After independence, when the scholars, researchers, they went around how to go about the policy for Central Indian tribals, mainland Indians, and Northeast Indian. Before that, when Pandit Nehru became Prime Minister, we were known as the Balipara Tract, Lakhimpur Frontier Tract, Sadia Frontier Tract, Tirap Frontier Tract, and thereafter, Pandit Nehru in 1954 made NEFA, North East Frontier Agency, and Pandit Nehru, he decided that the civil service people in northeastern region and Ladakh should be not the normal ICS officers. Present IS was earlier known as ICS. He introduced a service, IFAS, Indian Frontier Administrative Service. And these officers were mainly picked up from defense personnel. That's why some of friends will still remember some of our political officers at that time in districts. That means at that time frontier agencies. They were either some were captain, some were major, some were colonel. Now, for example, my DC was a captain, then Major Yusuf Ali, then Major Cutting before that. Like that, Colonel Johari, they were from IVAS service. Later on, of course, they merged with IS. Why? Because Pandit Nehru was influenced by the studies and the thoughts of Dr. Warrior Alvin. Dr. Warrior Alvin was a scholar who did a lot of research in the matter of tribals. Mainland tribals he was working, but later on he worked in NEFA also extensively. Then he wrote this book. On the basis of that book, NEFA was administered. What was the main essence of that book? Tribals should be allowed to aspire and prosper from within themselves, amongst themselves. And tribal culture should be protected. Tribal language should be protected. Culture should be protected. Religion should be protected. This was the spirit of that book. I remember as a student, class 7 student, I was sent to Delhi for Bharat Darshan tour. At that time, that was 1959. That policy was introduced and in full swing. तो हमारा महामहिम जी मुझे वो एग्री करेंगे मेरे साथ. आर्मी ऑफिसर्स थे मोस्टली, कोई एयरफोर्स से भी थे. In their enthusiasm, in school we were only allowed to wear our local dress. And I was wearing sape, our local dress. And when we went to Bharat Darshan, I was allowed to wear that only. While reaching in Delhi, I wanted to wear half pant or long pant. I was not allowed. But then one elder brother was there. Elder brother means he was in college, I was in school. He gave me his half pant. And that I used after reaching there. So this was the enthusiasm of implementing the policy of NEFA by the IFA's officers. Naturally, that was not bad for us. But sometimes some good work are implemented. When implemented in the field, some excesses take place. With due respect, I don't think will take otherwise. The election commission काम तो ठीक कर रहा है, लेकिन थोड़ा एक्सेस जैसा लगता है ना. So likewise, at that time, right at that time, I felt that the policy is good, but this is slightly excess. कपड़ा और दूसरा पहनेगा ही नहीं जब तक तुम्हारा खान पीन भाषा ठीक है, कल्चर ठीक है, पूजा पाठ ठीक है, बचा रखो. लेकिन कपड़ा अगर वो जो पहना था वो ही पहनो, लंगटी वाला लंगटी पहनो, ये थोड़ा एक्सेस हो गया. ऐसा मेरे को उस समय लगा था. तो बाद में पंडित नेहरू ने जब ये नेफा का पॉलिसी बनाया, फ्रंटियर ट्रैक्स को हटा दिया, तो उसके बाद तो क्या क्या हुआ आप लोगों को सबको मालूम है. जैसा कमिंग फ्रंटियर, सियांग फ्रंटियर, सुबनसिरी फ्रंटियर, तिराप फ्रंटियर, लोहित फ्रंटियर, ये डिविजन्स बना. डिस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं बोलते थे. डिस्ट्रिक्ट तो बाद में बोलने लग गया. और डीसीज को उस समय पॉलिटिकल ऑफिसर्स बोलते, पीओ साहब, बोर साहब बोलते थे. तो लाइकवाइज ग्रेजुअली वी ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड. And we must remember, as Honorable Deputy Chief Minister has stated today in the floor of the House, there are people before us or old well-wishers who influence gradually for what we are today. Our first MP was Honorable Chokhaman Gohai. After Chokhaman Gohai ji, Mr. Dying Earing, हमारा कुनी इरिंग जी का पिताजी, was MP from the NEFA. And it is during his time, for the first time in Arunachal Pradesh, a step was taken, that is Panchayati Raj system. And on his recommendation, Pandit Nehru, Indira Gandhi agreed that yes, Panchayat Raj should be there. Well, after that, 1969, the Panchayat Raj election had taken place. That means the agency council elections took place through Panchayat Raj. That went on, and later on, the agency council was converted into Pradesh Council. Pradesh Council was, as you all know, made in 72, 5 councillors, which I have already mentioned. And after that, that was converted into full-fledged assembly. And then I must pray to God that let the wisdom of the people be as it is during those days. I was made in the first Legislative Assembly, the Chief Minister with Councillor Minister. Our election took place, means slip election. We were 33. Asitamo and myself, we contested. I got 26 votes, and rest vote went to Asitamo. I was first informed when I see about Kamang Borangji. He immediately informed me because we were not allowed to participate. So that is how I got elected as Chief Minister. And at that time, we were very in a formative stage, even in party system also. I was not elected as a Congress Chief Minister or any party Chief Minister. At that time, in the assembly, we were all in almost non-party, but we had started a unit of Congress. That is how 1975 I became Chief Minister. I am very, very thankful to God and thankful to the wisdom of Arunachal Pradesh. I was very grateful to the wisdom and expressions of love by the people of Arunachal Pradesh. I thought I must do the justice. We were just starting from the clean slate. So what happened? We had assembly, okay, but we don't know how to run the assembly. We have no experience. I went to Sarat Chandra Sinha, the Chief Minister of Assam, and borrowed an officer from, experienced officer from their assembly. His name was Handikji, Mr. Handikoi. And my very close friend, Nokme Nimati from Tirap, was chosen as speaker. And they too got down to work, and that is how the assembly started working. That is how the Arunachal Pradesh Assembly was established. Well, if I say a little longer, it may take more time. In short, well, after becoming ministers, we thought we must do justice to the people. I particularly thought I must do whatever I can do. We started first visiting each and every district. I visited not only districts, the circles, up to circles, blocks. I personally visited most of the blocks and very interior places also. Helicopter used to be the only means at the time, and then walking and by jeep, rough roads, whatever it was. Then we could understand that what we should do. But there is another khai, another blockade. What we want to plan and execute, we have no money. The funds were very little. When I took over as Chief Minister, my plan allocation was 4 crores. And total budget was, I think, 26 or 28 crores. You can imagine, अब क्या करें? Despite all these difficulties, we tried our level best, particularly my friends, my hats off to them, my colleagues. They were day and night workers. Sometimes when I say night, they will work. I had a friend, I had a colleague who we all used to drink at the time. I had a colleague. You may give him one full bottle of rum. He will consume, but his work will not go here or there. His writing will be the same. His words will be the same. So likewise, we started working day and night with the scanty of funds. Then we decided, Apangji had come this morning. I wanted to tell in front of him here, but he has gone. He is not very well, he told me. First of all, we two decided that I, as Chief Minister, had to run to Delhi for every project as Union Territory and ask for money. That was not possible for a person, one person. So in a month, sometimes I used to visit 4 times Delhi. Now here in Itanagar, Arunachal, we were new. All expected ministers to look after them, meet them. When we come here, when I come here, I meet people. There's no time to work and meet people, go to Delhi. So Apangji and I decided, all right, Apangji, you be here Chief Minister. I will go to Delhi. Try to convince the Planning Commission and other Home Ministry and others. That was what we had an understanding. No. Before that, the Home Minister was Mr. Uma Shankar Dixit in Delhi. Sheila Dixit's father-in-law. Sandeep Dixit, present Delhi leader Sandeep Dixit's grandfather. He was a Hindi protagonist. So, because of him, let me go one step behind. We were more or less, when we were Pradesh Council, Union Territory was given, idea was given by this old man. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister. And then we met him twice. K.C. Pant, many of you must have heard his name, was Minister of State in Home Affairs. So in front of us, discussed, and K.C. Pant was put on duty to talk to Indiraji to make Arunachal Pradesh Union Territory. I'm one step back talking about her. And that is how Indiraji was briefed, and she gave us Union Territory in 72. Now, coming back to the story, that Apangji and I decided, then came the election of 1980, 1979 and 80. I went to Delhi. I got the chance of having the idea of Delhi and national politics. That is how Apangji and I coordinated and started working together for the construction of this capital, besides other developments in Arunachal, because we had shifted up to Naharlagun only. Then this capital was planned. This morning also he was talking to me. We were talking about this, planned, and then execution was started. That is how this process of whole administration of Arunachal Pradesh started. Well, when I became Chief Minister, at that time, before me, what I thought, what I decided is, before me the task was, we were not very organized. And before us, there was no democracy. It was a kind of bureaucracy administration. So we had to build the structure of democracy and to drive along with that. So we had no political party, no formal election. We had made Congress party. The first, as Speaker Saab mentioned, the first election, assembly election, as per democratic process of Constitution of India, was held in 1977-78. At that time, before that time, there was no such party system or elections. So the legislature had to be established. Also, the executive has to be established. Judiciary has to be properly handled. We had no judicial system. We had officers, DCs or ESCs were also executive magistrates. So that is how we thought that the framework has to be built up. So first we established elected assembly in 1977-78. And then executive was built, no doubt, because Chief Minister, ministers and other officers were executed. And third one was judiciary. In Arunachal Pradesh, do you know, Police Act was not applicable when I took over. We had no police department in the state. I had to run to Delhi and for money and had to start the Bandardeva Police Training Center. I must thank those officers. They had cooperated. And likewise, there are so many, even PWD, just now we were talking about PWD. We had no PWD in Arunachal. I had to start very afresh. We were run by a CPWD who were controlled by the central ministry. So like that, gradually we built up the executive framework. Judicial framework, as mentioned today in quite a number of times, the High Court was Guwahati High Court. We had no judiciary, separate judiciary. We had made a beginning, but it takes time. Now I'm happy that judiciary is separated. We have judges, separate judges. Likewise, this constitutional framework or the functional framework or the hardware for running the administration and the development work was set. This was a great achievement so far as Arunachal Pradesh is concerned. Otherwise, there was no democracy earlier, no election. So likewise, after that we started gradually working. And you have seen the examples are there. Now, for example, somebody mentioned about the university. This university was named earlier, in the beginning. Rajiv Gandhi University was as Arunachal University. How was it established? That has got a long story. I think I have a long story for that, but in short, I can tell you, there was Assam agitation in 1979, 80, 81, 82. Many of you may remember the Assam students lost 2 years because of agitation. Exams were not conducted in Guwahati University. Exams were not conducted in Dibrugarh University. But at that time, I used to tell in Delhi, I have only Dare College, 1.5 college. We had Pasigat College and Deranatun College here, Night College. These two were also affiliated in Guwahati University. So our students were going to lose 2 years. I directly went to Indira ji's office and almost sat down before her. Of course, she was very good to me at that time, quite motherly. I went and sat down before her table. So she said, "Kya hua? What happened?" तो बोला, मैडम, आसाम तो पहला से ही एजुकेटेड है, 1-2 साल लॉस होने से उनका कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन मेरे स्टूडेंट्स को वी स्टार्टेड वेरी लेट, वी कांट इवन लूज 1 ईयर, तो आप कुछ करिए, यूनिवर्सिटी हम चेंज करिए, कॉलेज से एफिलिएट कर दिया, जाओ दिल्ली में जाओ मेरा नाम लेके बात करो. आई वेंट देयर, Delhi University में, they refused. We affiliate only within the Delhi territory. Then I started looking for which university affiliates. Punjab University I found. And many of you must have remembered. Pasighat College was once affiliated to Punjab University. And that is how I could save. And this Apangji also knows very well. Because of our coordination, we could save 2 years of our students. And this was the difficulty when Indraji came to realize. Then I placed a demand for university, Arunachal University. Apangji knows it very well. He coordinated. We placed the demand. She agreed. And in 1984, January, Mr. Techi Taka, a very close friend of mine, was education minister here. Indraji came, laid the foundation of university above Doimo. And that is how this university had come. Now, education is one of the most important aspects. Many of you may not be knowing, even the intellectuals, how we introduce. I was looking for Mr. Wangfal Wang today. In Arunachal Pradesh today, the medium of instruction is English. And the Hindi starts right from the beginning. Earlier, Assamese, I read in Assamese medium. I studied in Assamese medium. There was Assamese medium. And in some remote areas, Hindi medium, there was a hodgepodge sort of thing. विजनरी लीडर। मैं दिल्ली में था तब वो, क्योंकि ये हॉल देख के मैं इसमें असेंबली में आने से हमेशा सोचता हूँ दर्जी खांडू साहब के बारे में। दिल्ली में आके मुझे वो कहता था हम वो एकदम फर्स्ट क्लास असेंबली बना देंगे। आके देखा तो हम बन गया। और सेक्रेटरिएट में मैं एक बार गया, देखो मैं तो पहचान ही नहीं आया। हमारा समय में तो असम टाइप का था, बिल्डिंग के बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक है। किसने बनाया? मुझे बताया था दर्जी खांडू साहब ने, ओके एकदम फर्स्ट क्लास असेंबली बना देंगे हम, और ऐसा फर्स्ट क्लास सेक्रेटरिएट बना देंगे। आके देखा तो सचमुच बना है। तो वी मस्ट all the pay respect to all the chief ministers. ओके बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन जो कंक्रीट काम करके गया है उसको भी तो एक स्पेशली कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट तो करना पड़ेगा। इसलिए दर्जी खांडू साहब को खास तरह से जहाँ हम खड़ा होकर बात कर रहा है, इसलिए उनको धन्यवाद दे रहा हूँ। और मैं जो मेरा जितना भी सक्सेसर थे उनको अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ, धन्यवाद देता हूँ। दे हैव फॉलोड व्हाट आई हैड लेड डाउन और दे हैव एडेड मच मोर इन दैट। इसलिए उनको मैं नमन करता हूँ। जो लोग गुजर गया है, फिर से एक बार मैं उनको प्रार्थना और नमन करता हूँ। प्रेम खांदू जी, ये मैं पहला भी बोल चुका हूँ। प्रेम खांदू को, हमारा सीएम साहब को तो मैंने छोटा से ही देखा ना, हम लोग उधर से एक ही जगह से है। ये महाशय, ये ही इज द जेंटलमैन, एब्सोल्यूट जेंटलमैन, बट डोंट टेक हिम वीक that what his weakness. He is a very courageous man. आज तक हिंदुस्तान किसी चीफ मिनिस्टर ने खड़ा होकर बोला हमारा सीमा चाइना के पास बात साथ नहीं है, किसी ने बोला? ये चीफ मिनिस्टर खड़ा होकर देश के सामने बोलता है, चाइना के सामने बोलता है। ये बोलते हैं कि हम चाइना का साथ हमारा बॉर्डर नहीं है, हमारा तो बॉर्डर तिब्बत है। अरे भाई, ये स्टेटमेंट को लेके नॉट नेशनल लेवल में ही नहीं, इंटरनेशनल में बात हो रहा है। दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी करेजियस काइंड ऑफ स्टेटमेंट। तो दूसरा काम तो कर ही रहा है, आप लोग देख ही रहा है प्रेम खांडू को, लेकिन ये एस्पेक्ट भी आप लोगों ने ध्यान करना चाहिए और रखिए। ये हमारा स्टेट के लिए या देश के लिए सिर्फ नहीं, ये सारा इंटरनेशनली विश्व को कर्ज देने वाला बात है। कमजोर को जबरदस्ती वो दबाता है चाइनीज, और कोई आवाज नहीं उठाता है, चुप रहता है। तो इस तरह से हमारा चीफ मिनिस्टर न था। मैं तो बहुत गौरव फील किया, लेकिन मैं पहला बताया ना, मैं तो कांग्रेस ही हूँ तो इसलिए ज़्यादा बोलने से भी बहुत इतना ठीक नहीं, कंफ्यूजन होगा। अच्छा, एनीवे, लास्ट में ना आई वांट टू कंक्लूड। I want to congratulate the Honorable Speaker Saab, Honorable Deputy Speaker Saab, and Honorable Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, and the Government of Arunachal Pradesh, and above all, महामहिम राज्यपाल जी, आपको आपके प्रति बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रकट करता हूँ, और बहुत बहुत आपसे आशा करता हूँ भविष्य में भी इस तरह से जो मोरल बिल्डिंग एक्टिविटीज़, क्योंकि सब देखिए माइंड ही तो असली है। अगर आपका मॉरल हाई है, माइंड ठीक है, तो हाथ पांव हिलेगा, काम करेगा, सब कुछ काम होगा। इसलिए इस तरह का मीटिंग्स जो ऑर्गेनाइज किया है उसके लिए धन्यवाद और बहुत बहुत कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन। मेरा जो पुराना दोस्त लोग थे, उन लोगों को फिर से एक बार मैं याद करता हूं। आप सबको भी रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं, अरुणाचल वासियों को, जिस तरह से, जिस हालत में एकदम ग्रास रूट से हम लोगों ने, मेरे दोस्तों ने जो काम करके अरुणाचल को यहाँ तक लाया है, उसके लिए याद रखिएगा। मैं क्लेम नहीं करता हूँ मैंने कुछ किया है। मेरा सब कुछ जो भी काम हुआ है वो मेरे कलीग्स का द्वारा। क्रेडिट गोज टू माई कलीग्स, क्रेडिट गोज टू पीपल ऑफ अरुणाचल प्रदेश। इसलिए अरुणाचल वालों को भी मैं प्रार्थना करता हूँ, आपका लीडर अच्छी तरह से चुनिए। अरुणाचल का लीडर लोगों को भी मैं प्रार्थना करता हूँ, जिस वजह से आपको चुना है सिंसियरली इम्प्लीमेंट करिए। उस जमाने हमने क्या किया वो देख के, आपका कैपेसिटी क्या है अभी वो देख के सिंसियरली काम करिएगा। यही मेरा आप सबको प्रार्थना है।